بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله، صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، صلى الله عليك وعلى المستشهدين بين يديك سيدي يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء. ما خاب من تمسك بكم، أمن من التجأ إلى حصنكم. يا ليتنا ثم يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما. يلي تناشدني على من تهمل العين، يلي تناشدني على من تهمل العين، كل البكي والنوح والحسرة على حسين، حبه بقلبي وتظهره بصبها دموعي، مجبور في حبه ولا أشوفه بطاعي. سيدي يا ريت قبل ضلوعهن رضت ضلوعي، ومن قبل خده تعفرت مني الخدين. أبكي على مصابه بكل صبح ومسيا، أبكي وواسع البكي الزهرة الزكية، لا زال وإلى المحشر لا زال تندب يا ضحايا الغاضرية. يا حسين يا ابني ويا عزيزي وقرة العين. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فما بكت عليهم السماوات والأرض سماء والأرض وما كانوا منظرين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Allah has said in His holy Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, neither the skies, neither the earths wept for them, and they were given no reprieve. صدق الله العلي العظيم. عطروا مجالسكم بذكر محمد وآل محمد. محمد وآل محمد وآل محمد. نوروها بالثانية. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه. زينوها بالثالثة. Every year we gather around together to commemorate these holy nights of Muharram, these holy nights of the tragedy of Karbala. This commemoration, this lamentation has a few wisdoms, a few aspects to it. Some aspects we can actually feel and understand. It's logical. Some aspects are metaphysical. It's a God-given gift to some of the Shia. One of the main questions may be raised by some of the doubters against these majalis, is that what have these majalis contributed to the advancement of the human society? So you gather around, you cry, you weep, you beat your chests, you maybe take up your swords and hit your heads with a qama on the day of Ashura. What has that done and contributed to the human society? Does it do any good? Our weeping on Imam Hussein, the way we attribute ourselves to the movement of Imam Hussein, has very deep meanings and morals deep within it. I would like to cite an incident that occurred in these recent times. If you remember the death of George Floyd, the one that was killed while being put down by a cop, a policeman, with his knees on his neck until he suffocated and died. After he died, you saw this, I don't know if you've seen the videos, the protests that came and followed this incident. One of the videos showed about a few thousand gathered in a place and them chanting while they were lying down on their bellies, their hands behind their back, portraying the way that George Floyd died. And they were chanting together, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe." The words that he said before he died. If you look at it, you would understand quickly what these protests meant. These protests, these solace they had towards this incident was them showing the world and proving that they stand where justice is, they stand against oppression, they stand against tyranny, they stand against that or the reason that made this incident possible. Our commemoration of Muharram, our weeping on Imam Hussein, is a manifestation of all of the morals that Imam Hussein represented and that we hold dear and that we believe has value. So when we come and we commemorate the death of Imam Hussein, we commemorate Ashura, it's actually us saying that what Imam Hussein stood for, the justice, the fairness, the mercy, is what we also stand for. This is our movement. Imam Hussein's movement is the movement that we belong to. If there was a time, if we were in the time of Karbala, if there was another movement by one of the sons of, or one of the Imams, Imam al-Hujjah salamullah alayh, that stands against tyranny, then we would also follow. Imam al-Sadiq salamullah alayh says in a hadith in Kamil al-Ziyarat that, oh grandfather, oh Abu Abdullah, if I was at the time of Karbala, then I would be happy to have my blood shed and spilled in your cause. This is the face value and the face wisdom behind the commemoration of Muharram. But there's a deeper meaning to Muharram, a meaning that only those who are faithful understand, because it's a gift from God, from Allah Azza wa Jal. إذا أحب الله عبدا قذف في قلبه حب الحسين. If God loves one of his worshippers, he sees sincerity from him, he sees ikhlas, he will then gift him and grant him the love of Imam Hussein salamullah alayhi. إن للحسين محبة مكنونة في قلوب المؤمنين. Imam Hussein has an underlying love in the hearts of all those who are mu'mins. There's a deep love that we don't know what's the cause. It just makes us want to cry, makes us want to follow. It's a magnet that takes us towards Karbala, takes us towards Imam Hussein salamullahi alayhi. Imam Hussein, see, when we speak with others, we say Imam Hussein was the manifestation, or he represented morals. But when we speak amongst ourselves, amongst us Shia, we say Imam Hussein was the essence of all morals, of true morality. He is the source of mercy, the source of love, the source of harmony, the source of sincerity. That's who we believe Imam Hussein is, and his enemies are the source of all which is evil. The brothers are saying that we would if it would be good if we made a qiyam. رحم الله من ذكر القائمة من آل محمد. When we speak about Imam Hussein, we can't help but to notice the contrast, the obvious contrast between day and night, between darkness and light, between evil and truth. Imam Hussein salamullahi alayhi, some people might wonder, why didn't he give in to Yazid? What was the big deal? I mean, it's just an allegiance. And you would, you'd guarantee the safety of your family, of your children. Why did you stand up, O Hussein salamullah alayh? And Imam Hussein answered this very question when he was called upon by Walid, the Caliph of Medina at that time. He called upon Imam Hussein late at night, and Imam Hussein knew that Walid called him to ask him to pay for allegiance. He took his brother, Abul Fadl Abbas, the rest of his brothers, mostly stepbrothers, he took them to the castle where Walid resides, and he ordered them that, I'll go enter, and if you hear my voice, if I raise my voice inside, then just barge in, come inside. That means I'm in trouble, I need your aid. I'm in danger. So the Imam Hussein entered the castle. Walid started speaking. He said, "Oh Hussein, my condolences." The Imam said, "For what?" Imam Hussein knew what happened. So he said, "For what?" He said, "Oh Hussein, Muawiyah has died." And Imam Hussein just kept quiet. And he said, "Then what?" And he said, "The Muslims have agreed that Yazid is to be the caliph. See, with Imam Hussein, he didn't say that Muawiyah has assigned Yazid to be the next in line. He said the Muslims agreed. That means if you're going against this, you're going against the whole ummah. I mean, I know it's your rightful place and you're more fit to take the Khilafah, but what could you do? It's a nation that doesn't want you. The Ummah decided that Yazid is to be the Khalifa, and we would like you to pay allegiance. So Imam Hussein told Walid, he said, it's the middle of the night, and you want to take my bay'ah for it to be an excuse to make others also pay allegiance. You would tell the people that Hussein ibn Ali, the grandson of the Prophet, gave allegiance. Who are you not to give? Come on, give allegiance. And at the middle of the night, there's no one to witness this allegiance, to witness me giving my allegiance to Yazid. So, you know what? Let's leave it tonight as it is. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll see what happens. He didn't say I'll pay allegiance. He says we'll see what happens. غَدًا نَرَى وَتَرَوْا. We'll see what happens. Literal translation, by the way. Nara wa tarawun. You and us will see what happens. So, Walid said, it's a good idea. Okay, let's do that. Marwan ibn al-Hakam was sitting next to Walid. Marwan ibn al-Hakam is the man that after this battle of Jamal, when he came to do bay'ah with Imam Ali because they have lost the battle, Imam Ali had his hand towards those who were giving bay'ah. When Marwan ibn al-Hakam came, Imam Ali just closed his hand quickly. And he said, I would never let this hand touch me because it's a hand of a man that has evil in his heart. This is Marwan ibn al-Hakam. So he said to Walid, he was sitting next to Walid, he said, I'll tell you something. If you don't force Hussein to do bay'ah right here, right now, you would never get bay'ah from him. You would never have him cornered in such a way that he would give bay'ah. You either take his bay'ah now, or either you just behead him right here, slaughter him. So Imam Hussein, he said, O the son of the filthy woman, you think you can kill me? And he raised his voice. And so Abu al-Fadl Abbas and the brothers of Imam Hussein just came inside. And then when they came and they surrounded Imam Hussein said what he truly believes. He said, Oh Walid, we are inna ahlu bayt al-nubuwah. We are the family of prophethood. Wa ma'adin al-risalah. And the source of the message of God. وَيَزِيدُ بِنَا فَتَحَ اللَّهِ. God has opened with us. He opened His mercy with us. وَبِنَا يَخْتِمْ. And God will seal it with us. وَيَزِيدُ. And Yazid شَارِبُ الْخَمْرِ. He's a drunkard. لَاعِبٌ بِالْقُرُودِ. He wastes his time playing around with monkeys. وَمُعَلِنٌ بِالْفِسْقِ. And he publicly sins and performs fisq. وَقَاتِلُ النَّفْسِ الْمُحْتَرَمَةِ. And he kills the innocent. وَمِثْلِي لَا يُبَايِعُ مِثْلَهُ. A man of my stature will never pay allegiance to someone like Yazid. And he said that. Now listen to what Imam Hussein said. See, Imam Hussein mentioned a few points that we at this time may be absent-minded to, especially in regards to who should lead the ummah. I'll give you an example. See, when every United States president comes to office, you'd see maybe a full article in the New York Times or the Washington Post speaking about the president's dog, and how the president has a dog, and how he's a guy that you can relate to. He has a pet at the White House, and it's so nice, it's so cute, him running around with his dog, walking his dog. And then you feel, yeah, it's normal, this is what we want, a president that's just like his people. When actually, when you go and read the seerah of Ahlul Bayt's history, you understand that when a kid, if one of a person's children is sick, when a mother has a sick child, she doesn't sleep at night and rest because her child has a high fever. She stays awake. She doesn't say, okay, my child is awake and he's sick, but I need my rest and I should live my life, so let me sleep. She actually gives from herself to her kid. And a leader is actually a father of the ummah. أنا وعلي أبوا هذه الأمة. A leader doesn't have time to play around with a dog when half of his nation is unemployed, or when a certain amount of his nation is unemployed, when there are homeless people in his nation. He doesn't have time to do this stuff because he's a father and he has sick people, needy children. He goes at night like Imam Ali salamullah alayh, knocking on doors after doors, seeing where the orphans were. We have a hadith that Imam Ali one day was walking and he saw a woman carrying a heavy, it was like a bag made out of cloth. She was carrying it on her head. Maybe you've seen that in Iraq or you see the Africans do it these days. It's like a big heavy bag. She's carrying it on her head. So the Imam Ali told her, Amat Allah, O servant of God, O Allah, let me help you, let me aid you with carrying this heavy burden. And she gave it to him. So the Imam was walking. He said, why did you come out? Yani, what was it that made you, not your husband, run this errand? So she said, my husband was killed in a battle with Ali ibn Abi Talib. So the Imam walked, he reached her house and he said, do you have anything for the children, any food? She said, no. What I do is I stir the pot, I put water, boil water, stir the pot, and let the children think that I'm cooking something until they get too tired. I start stirring and stirring until they get too tired and they fall asleep because I have no food. So the Imam Ali bid her farewell and he went back. He bought food and then he carried, like it was a big heavy bag, he carried it. Ambar came to Imam Ali and said, oh, my commander, allow me to carry it. You bought a lot of stuff. It's a heavy burden. So Imam Ali said, وَمَنْ يَحْمِلُ عَنِّي ثِقْلِي يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. And if you carry this burden for me tonight, who will carry my burden in the day of judgment? I'm a father and he hasn't neglected his children, he has neglected children. So he went, he knocked the door. The woman said, who's on the door this time of night? I'm a woman, I'm alone, I'm a widow. So Imam Ali said, I am the slave, the servant that helped you and aided you just before. So she opened the door and she said, what do you want? And Imam Ali said, I brought some food for the kids. If you would allow me. So she allowed him to come inside. And Imam Ali told her that if you would like, I'll cook and you can get the bread ready, or if you'd like, I'll get the bread ready and you can cook. So the woman said, no, I know how to cook better. You get the bread ready, get the stuff ready. So the Imam Ali started getting the food, the preparation ready, and then he gave it to the lady. She started cooking. Before she started cooking, she told Imam Ali, and she didn't know who he was. She told him, light up the fire, light up the wood. So Imam Ali came to the wood and he started lighting up the fire. A flame went and was thrown into his face. So Imam Ali said, ذُقْ ya Ali, taste Ali, this fire. هذا جزاء من ضيع اليتامى. This is the result of having neglected orphans under your rule. Then he came after the woman cooked the food. He took the food and he started giving the children with his holy hands the food. And every time he took food in his hand to give to the children, he would say before giving it to him, he said, eat my child, but I have one request. اغفر لعلي ابن أبي طالب. Forgive Ali ibn Abi Talib. He didn't mean for you to be neglected. After that, the woman was in the slums, let's say, okay, and the smell of food went to the neighbors, and the neighbors said, we know, this widow, she has no food, what's going on? So they came to her, they knocked on the door, she opened the door, they said, what's going on? You have no food, and the smell is everywhere. If you have something, you can share. And she said, yeah, I have this good man, brought some food for us. And the ladies look and they said, do you know who this guy is? This is Ali ibn Abi Talib. And so the woman went to Imam Ali and said, oh, Amir al-Mu'mineen, I feel embarrassed for what I said, for what I did. And Imam Ali said, وَخَجْلَتَاهُ مِنْكِ يَا أَمَةَ اللَّهِ. It is me who should feel embarrassed from you. A leader is not one that sits on his laurels and leave his ummah to the misery. A leader is one that him, his wife, his two small children that just became well from a dire disease. He's sitting down with them after a long day fast in the heat of Saudi Arabia, and then they bring food, and the iftar is only bread with water, and the man comes knocking on their door, and he says, "O family of Muhammad, sallu ala Muhammad wa al Muhammad, Allahumma salli wa ala Muhammad wa ajil faraj. O family of Muhammad, I'm a prisoner that was just freed. I have no food." And then Imam Ali, the father of the ummah, Fatima al-Zahra, the mother of this ummah, Imam Hassan and Hussein, the caretakers of this ummah, they all give their iftar to this prisoner. The next day they are fasting while they only had iftar, while the iftar was only a cup of water the day before. They fast again, and again someone comes knocking on the door. He's a miskeen, a poor man. And again they give their iftar, their bread, their loaves of bread to this man. And the next day again, while having 2 days going with only water, the next day, the third day, an orphan comes by knocking on the door, and they give him their food. The morning on the third day, the Prophet comes to Fatima salamullah alayha, he enters. This is exactly what the hadith mentions, and he witnesses Imam Hassan and Hussein shivering from hunger. These are the true leaders. These are the characteristics of a true leader. It's not someone that has time to play around, has time to become drunk while people under his rule are living in misery. So Imam Hussein stood up for the salvation of this ummah. You know, after Yazid killed Imam Hussein and he came and he conquered Medina with his army, he made a contract with all the Medinians, the people of the Medina. And the contract states that the people of Medina, everyone had to sign this contract, that they are slaves, that Yazid, that are Yazid's, he can sell them as he sees fit. He can do with him as he pleases. And every person in Medina had to sign this contract or he would be killed. There was no allegiance anymore. It was slavery. This was Yazid. And on that end of the spectrum was Imam Hussein salamullah alayhi. The manifestation of God's mercy, of God's benevolence. Sallallahu alayhi. See, Imam Hussein, even in his quest to save the people, although it was in their advantage, he didn't force them to come. He told them, I'm going. Me, my family, my sisters, my daughters, my wives, anyone that wants to come, that wants to aid us in this movement, he's welcome. But he never, ever obligated anyone to follow him. It was their choice. Whoever wanted, whoever volunteered, he could come. Whoever didn't, it's his free choice. He even told his family, his companions, that we are going to Kufa, but we will not reach Kufa. It's not our destiny to reach Kufa. We are going to our martyrdom. This road, this path we are taking will end in us being slaughtered. We have been foretold with this. Imam Ali salamullah alayh, when he went to the battle of the Nahrawan, he came past Karbala. And then he suddenly stopped when he reached Karbala and he started crying and weeping. Ibn Abbas said, "O Amir al-Mu'mineen, why are you weeping? Why are you crying?" He said, "Ya Ibn Abbas, ha huna mahattu rihalihim." Oh, Ibn Abbas, this is where they camp. Ya Ibn Abbas, ha huna maqtalu rijalihim. Oh, Ibn Abbas, this is where they will be slaughtered. يا ابن عباس لو تعلم ما أعلم لبكيت مثل ما بكيت. Oh, Ibn Abbas, if you knew what I knew, you would weep as I am weeping. If you knew what would happen in Karbala, then Imam Ali said, Ooh, Aba Abdullah. Oh, Aba Abdullah, have patience. Sabran, Aba Abdullah. Have patience to what will happen, to what will come. فَإِنَّ أَبَاكَ لَقِيَ كَمَا تَلْقَى مِنْهُمْ. Your father have faced the same hardships you will face from them. These are the nights of the Muharram, the nights that the angels spread the torn shirt of Imam Hussein, the shirt that is stained with the blood of Imam Hussein. They spread it between the heavens and the earth, and they cry, Wa Husayna, Aywa Shahida. In their narration, the Kiram al-Katibin, the angels of the day and night, the ones that write our sins and good deeds, before they ascend to the heavens, they ask God permission to come to Karbala to visit Imam Hussein. When they come to Karbala, they start weeping and crying till the morning comes, and then they are sent back to the heavens. Imam Sadiq says they often they face Fatima in the heavens. When Lady Fatima sees them, she smells the perfume of Karbala. فتشهق شهقا. She cries and screams and says, "Wa waladaya, oh my son, oh Hussein, on the day of Ashura, when Imam Hussein was killed, Fatima al-Zahra descended on the land of Karbala. She took the blood of Imam Hussein in her hands. She put it on her hair and she started saying, Bunay Hussein, قتلوك. Oh Hussein, why did they kill you? Oh my son, ومن شرب الماء منعوك. If they killed you, why did they deprive you of water? قضى ظامئا ما ذاق الماء برده، غريبا ولا شاق الأقارب لحده. فلو تنظرين الشمس تصهر خده، إذا للطمت الخد فاطم عنده، وأجريت دمع العين بالوجنات.